As they say, when you lose the Washington Post as a Democrat, you are cooked. She's got big, big problems. This is what they do when they get unchecked power. We're talking my absolute favorite topic today, Abigail Spanberger, Democrat. She's my governor here in Virginia. She's only been in office 2-3 months, and the downfall has already begun. I'm Terry Christoph. This is Smart Girl Politics. Let's start with those approval ratings. This is the key. This is where our jumping off point. Why is somebody who's barely been governor for 2 seconds so unpopular after winning pretty handily back in November?
She rescinded the prior directive that ICE would not would not be able to work with our local law enforcement. Anyway, people are not happy with the job she's doing. Her approval rating now after a few months is 47%, or disapproval is 46, approval is 47, which is not normal after 3 months in that area.
Well, because Governor Youngkin left with a 54% approval rating, but he was term limited. He can only have one term. And so there's really no comparison.
That was for the same period, not even when he left.
Exactly. So it's like, you know, when you lie to the voters and you say that you're going to be a moderate and you go in there, they're going to be a little upset about this. She's also want a corporate tax rate. She didn't talk about that on the campaign trail. She's back on this climate nonsense as well.
Those numbers that she's showing compared to her predecessors, she's at a +1. She's barely above water, whereas everybody, Democrat or Republican, ahead of her for decades, +15, +30, they were very, very popular. She's got big, big problems. Now, this next guy that I'm going to show you, if you do not follow Nick Minock on Twitter, he's your guy. He is a local, and you want to know about Spanberger, this is your guy. He is a local journalist here in Washington, D.C., and he covers primarily Virginia, and he is all over Spanberger. She ran as a moderate. There's no such thing as a moderate Democrat anymore. They are liars. There's no such thing. Keep that in mind. She ran on affordability. And what people are getting instead, besides all the taxes, they're thinking, I'm going to elect this woman and I'm immediately going to see some benefit on my wallet, the bottom line, being able to afford my bills, my groceries, my gas for my car. And what they're getting is a woman who is more focused on returning violent criminals to the street, especially if they're illegal, and gerrymandering the crap out of the congressional maps in order to disenfranchise many of the voters here. So somebody did a really, really good AI that kind of it's AI. So let's keep that in mind. But it really shows how badly she's bungled.
Ladies and gentlemen.
But I promise to make life more affordable for Virginians, to never encroach on the Constitution, and I'll definitely never take your guns.
That pretty much is brilliant. I think that should be something that has run on national TV so everybody knows that this is when you see a moderate Democrat, this is what you're going to get, a liar, somebody that lies and then just comes in and tramples all over your rights. And, people have some thoughts on this. There are some thoughts out there.
So they polled, so this is crazy. The voters in Virginia are having the worst voter remorse that we've ever seen. Right, and this is a warning to America. I want you guys to listen to me. America, hear me. The Democrats are liars. They run as moderates. She ran as a moderate. That's their game plan for 2028. Is they're going to probably try to make Gavin Newsom a moderate. They're going to try to make it like they're going back to moderacy, and then they're going to flip. That's what they did in Virginia. They ran this CIA operative said she was a moderate white woman who was going to lead for both Republicans, and she was going to be her poll numbers are worse than any Virginia governor in recent history. Her poll numbers are worse than Glenn Youngkin, who was a Republican and a governor Republican in a blue state, because she lied to the people. She got there. She's gerrymandering. She lied about that.
That guy gets it. He's completely right. Again, when they tell you they're moderate, they're lying to you. And not all Virginians are like the doofus that was in that lady. Oh, she doing great. Too early to tell. Like, we're not all that dumb. There was an absolutely brutal takedown of Spanberger by the Washington Post editorial team. Let us take a look at this beauty. The honeymoon ended quickly because Spanberger allowed herself to become the face of a hyper-partisan power grab that she knew to be wrong. The governor signed off on a proposed map that will give her party a 10-to-1 edge in the state's congressional delegation if voters approve an April 21st referendum. There are currently 6 Democrats and 5 Republicans, which is fair in a blue-leaning swing state. This has turned off independents and repulsed moderate Republicans who helped her win 3 competitive congressional races. Spanberger has come across as a hypocrite, one of the characteristics voters most dislike about politicians. Commercials and mailers highlight her past support for the 2020 constitutional amendment she's now trying to unravel and previous condemnations of the tactic she's now employing. As they say, when you lose the Washington Post as a Democrat, you are cooked. Let's talk about the affordability lie that she sold voters when she was running for governor. This is Ken Cuccinelli on CNN. Ken Cuccinelli was a former attorney general here in Virginia, also was my state senator at one point. He's going to tell us a little bit about the affordability lie sold to us by Abigail Spanberger.
In an affordability election last November in Virginia, and the Democrats swept in with supposedly moderate Abigail Spanberger, and it took a matter of days or hours for people to realize how far left she is. And now we're getting tax increases upon tax increases, rejoining the greenhouse gas initiative to intentionally raise energy prices. The one thing that affects more people more quickly and poor people more than anyone else.
Now let's hear a little bit more about the taxes that the Democrats, led by Abigail Spanberger, are pushing here in Virginia. We saw a little bit about it in the AI video, but let's find out a little bit more.
Also a list of, now the Democrats control the legislature, that a number of bills that have been put forward. You can't read it here, but let me just go through it. Sales tax on Uber Eats, Amazon. Sales tax on admissions to a variety of businesses. Create 2 new higher tax brackets. 10% tax bracket for anyone making over $1 million. 3.8 investment tax. Raise the hotel tax. New personal property tax on landscaping equipment. Ban gas-powered leaf blowers. Guarantee illegal aliens free education. Make it illegal to approach somebody at an abortion clinic. Extend the time absentee ballots can be received after Election Day. Allow people to cast their votes electronically through the internet. Expand ranked choice voting. Extend the deadline for ballot curing. Redact the addresses of political candidates from FOIAs. Add Virginia to the National Popular Vote Compact. Make it illegal to hand count ballots. $500 sales tax on firearm suppressors. Assault weapons and large capacity magazine ban. 11% sales tax on all firearms and ammunition. Prohibit outdoor shooting of a firearm.
You get the idea. This is not the agenda of a moderate Democrat Party. This is what they do when they get unchecked power. Now, not all of those taxes have been passed or signed into law. They're trying to be a little bit crafty about this because there is a big midterm election, which is why we got the gerrymander. And they are holding some of this back for the next legislative session. So you might hear people make the argument, oh, they're not taxing lawn mowers, and it's coming. You might not see it right now, and you might be led to believe that they didn't actually have the intention of passing these, but just wait. We'll get to the gerrymandering issue in just a second, but I think possibly, in my mind at least, the equally bad thing happening right now is what's going on with illegals, violent illegals who are repeatedly being let out on the street where they do even worse crimes. We've had several people murdered in the last few weeks, especially in the Northern Virginia area. And that's because on her first day in office, Abigail Spanberger decided we weren't playing with ICE anymore. We got a nice little summary of what Spanberger's doing here by Dana Perino over at Fox News.
Abigail Spanberger is under some growing pressure to honor ICE detainers. This as her state of Virginia reels from a string of murders tied to illegal immigrants. That includes an illegal immigrant from Guatemala charged with killing his 3-month-old daughter. Another Guatemalan immigrant who entered the country as a godaway is charged with stabbing a man to death. And an illegal immigrant from Sierra Leone with more than 24 prior arrests is charged with fatally stabbing a woman at a bus stop. Paul Morrow is here with us now. Here's what she said on February 4th, just after she got inaugurated, about ICE.
On the first day in office, I repealed and pulled back from what had been my predecessor's Executive Order 47, which mandated the work of Virginia state law enforcement agencies with ICE, taking Virginia...
She's weird.
Law enforcement state agency personnel and basically giving them over to ICE is something that ends today.
How's that worked out?
I'll tell you how it's working out. Not great. We have this case of Stephanie Minter, a mother who was murdered in a bus shelter waiting to catch a bus in Fairfax County, Virginia. We come to find out the guy had a rap sheet. He was arrested 30 to 40 times. The sheriff told them, do not let this guy out. He's going to do something worse. And he did. He did. He killed a woman. He killed a mother. So we know how that's working out. It's not working out. And that's just one in several really egregious, preventable murders enabled by Abigail Spanberger because she will not allow state law enforcement to work with ICE. One of my favorites, Tom Homan, the White House border czar, who's also a Virginia resident. He has some thoughts on how Abigail Spanberger's doing when it comes to letting illegals on the street to commit crime.
Another accused of killing a mother. What is going on in Virginia?
Elections. I mean, elections has consequences. I live in Virginia. Spanberger took over and she moved so far left she's not even recognizable anymore. Look, in that city, Fairfax, they've been a sanctuary city. I've been complaining about them for years. Sanctuaries are sanctuaries for criminals, and for any politician there, like the chief of police or the sheriff, they want to say they're not going to enforce federal immigration law, not their job. They can't honor ICE detainers. They don't think they're legal. We can do the same thing we did in Minneapolis. We can do the same thing. Talk to the sheriffs, talk to the chiefs. Say, you know what, if you don't want to honor detainers, I get it. We can litigate that in court. However, there's nothing illegal about you calling ICE before you release them, and we'll be there to take custody. You don't have to hold them 1 minute past you would normally hold them on your charges. Just give us a call. It's free.
Just give them a call. It's that simple. But no, Abigail Spanberger and her fellow Virginia Democrats want Virginia to be a sanctuary state. Now, this has consequences. And one last thing, this is a fresh content that we've got of her being asked yesterday about this.
The Department of Homeland Security says 3 out of every 4 people arrested in Fairfax County are illegal aliens. They're asking you to discontinue sanctuary city policies. Any comment along those lines? Governor? Governor, any comment on the DHS request?
No comment. No comment from the governor about rampant crime and murder happening at the hands of violent illegals that she wants here. Of course she's not going to comment. That's what she does. That's how she got elected. She didn't comment. People go, she's a moderate. No, she's not. She's a hard, far left liberal who doesn't care about Virginia families. And then there's the issue of gerrymandering. Just a few years back, Abigail Spanberger was against it. Let's take a look at what she had to say back in 2019. This is in response to a SCOTUS ruling that basically it was a strike against racial gerrymandering, to which Abigail Spanberger said, this is good news for Virginia and the country. Gerrymandering is detrimental to our democracy and it weakens the individual voices that form our electorates. Opposing gerrymandering should be a bipartisan priority. Okay? Let's take a listen now to Governor Spanberger.
I'm Governor Abigail Spanberger, and I'm voting yes on Virginia's redistricting amendment. It's directly in response to what other states decide to do, and a president who says that he's, quote, entitled to more Republican seats before this year's midterms. Our approach is different. It's temporary. It preserves Virginia's fair redistricting process into the future. At this extraordinary moment, I urge all Virginians to join me in voting yes by April 21st.
First of all, not fair. I will show you the maps. We have an old one, we have the new one. It disenfranchises a large part of the Commonwealth. Also, it is not fair. They're using this fair language, which I think is going to get challenged in court. We'll see what happens there. And it's certainly not going to be temporary. They are pretending that once we have the 2030 census and we have different numbers, that they're going to redraw it again, meaning they might just give up those 4 congressional seats. You think that's going to happen? Do you think the Democrats are going to give up 4 congressional seats? Of course they're not. They're lying. They are lying, and Abigail Spanberger is lying, and there is no question in my mind why she is sinking in the polls. Something we don't talk enough about is just what an odd duck Abigail Spanberger is. She rivals Kamala Harris in the word salad category. She is a gibberizing fool, and she's really, really strange and awkward. There were signs. Remember this from the campaign trail last year?
That's why I'm wondering why my opponent won't say beyond it's abhorrent and disgusting, why she won't say it is not okay and that he must leave the race because Jay Jones advocated the murder, Abigail, the murder of a man, a former speaker, as well as his children who were 2 and 5 years old. You have little girls. What would it take him pulling the trigger? Is that what would do it? And then you would say he needs to get out of the race? Abigail, you have nothing to say? Abigail.
Smirk.
What if he said it about your 3 children? Is that when you would say he should get out of the race, Abigail? You're running to be governor.
Do you remember that? When Winsome Sears, the Republican candidate, asked Spanberger to comment on things that Jay Jones had said about a political opponent and wanting to watch that opponent's children die. And they were 3 and 4, 4 and 5 little babies. And Abigail Spanberger could not just say that was abhorrent and he shouldn't have said it. No, look at her. Smirk, smirk, smirk. A lying, smirky mess who's deservedly seeing her political career go woo before her very eyes. I want to show another one, too, because she's just an odd duck. There's nothing normal about this lady. This is her congratulating VCU on a basketball victory, and she can't even be normal about that because, I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with her. She's unlike anyone I know, and I know a lot of people.
Congrats, VCU! Go Rams! What a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful way to start March Madness. So Virginia fans, I hope you are enjoying all of our Virginia teams that are in the tournament. And certainly VCU kicked it off really well with their success.
She's not normal. This is not a normal woman. There's something there. There's something eating away at her soul. So we see that she's a liar. She doesn't want you to see who she really is. It slips out at times like that. She's very odd. She's odd. She's unlikable. She's weird. The only people that like her are the awfuls. Oh, I think she's doing a great job. No, you don't. You're going to say it no matter what she does because you're all part of the same satanic cult. So what's really going on here? It comes down to this. Abigail Spanberger is no leader. She's not the governor. She is kowtowing to 2 people. Don Scott, who is the Speaker of the House of Delegates here in Virginia, and Louise Lucas. She's a state senator. She's vulgar. She's classless. She's disgusting. Don Scott is a convicted drug dealer. Louise Lucas is a foul-mouthed weed. She owns a weed shop in Virginia Beach. And she's a nasty little piece of work. And this is what it's all about.
To, Speaker Don Scott and Dan Helmer and the liberal left running the House and Senate. But, they're running roughshod over her agenda already. And it shows that she's a especially weak governor, even though she's switching many of her positions over to the more liberal side to try and accommodate them. She's proving to be a pretty weak governor.
The moment she was running, I said, she's not running for governor of Virginia. She's auditioning for president of the United States. And she's auditioning as, oh, look, I'm a moderate. She was never a moderate in Congress.
Never.
She's not going to govern as a moderate. But the thing is that she's not going to govern. There's two people running the state right now, Don Scott in the House, Speaker of the House, and Louise Lucas in the Senate. That's who's running things, because Abigail Spanberger knows she is never going to get the Democratic nomination to be president if the first Black Speaker of the House of Virginia and the first Black female Senate pro tempore don't endorse her.
What's next? What's next is they think that this woman, Abigail Spanberger, the Democrats think that she's going to be a future presidential candidate. She's going to be the next Kamala. She's going to go all the way to the top. And she is going to lie her way to get there. Now, how do we know this? They had her do the rebuttal to the State of the Union this year. I was going to play some video, but I don't think I will, because she's like pale, she's weird, and I'm just kind of sick of looking at her right now. But she's cooked. Abigail Spanberger is cooked. She is cooked. She is fumbling this so badly because she is beholden to the two people here, Don Scott and Louise Lucas. She is so beholden to them, who are far, far left. Horrible people. She is so beholden to them and to the Democrat Party that she is going to lie. She's going to say and do whatever she has to do, because she would like to be president. Let me tell you this. You don't want her to be president. She has earned every bad poll number that she's getting. And we're going to keep talking about her. She's literally my favorite topic. And one thing I want you all to be looking at, I'm recording this on April 8th, my birthday. April 13th is a big deadline here. She has a piece of legislation pending on her desk, pending her signature, that would outlaw assault weapons. It doesn't confiscate weapons that are already owned, but as of, it would go into effect July 1st. You will not be able to purchase them. Lawful, law-abiding citizens of Virginia will not be able to buy them. She is too cowardly to put her signature on it. If she doesn't, it becomes law anyway. It's already been passed by the General Assembly. Is this a courageous woman? This is not. This is a completely political, partisan, hard left woman with ambitions, and you do not want her. She's got political ambitions beyond Virginia. So just be warned. People ask me all the time, why do you write about her so much? Because she's a great lesson in what happens to Democrats when they get a little bit of power and they have big old political ambitions. She has the moral backbone of a chocolate eclair. You don't want her in a national position. She's like a Gavin Newsom. She's the Wicked Witch of the East. He's the Wicked Witch of the West. She's the Wicked Witch of the East. We don't want either one of them. We'll keep talking about it. I'm Terry Christoph. This is Smart Girl Politics. See you next time.